Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Pikel with League of Items, and it's Tuesday. Normally, we do a lot of these ranking videos on Mondays. I was busy yesterday, so we're gonna do them today instead. So this is the way that I had the tier list set up last time, using Tier Maker. Let's get into presentation mode, but let's take a look at the LCS first. So we're gonna go region by region, and then I'll finish off with the global rankings. I might do a separate global rankings video, but let's just see how this goes. So first up, these are the results from last week. So those are just some good things to keep in mind. I'm going to put the tier list on the other screen while we go through this. So first up, we should do the lower tier teams. So let's take a look at Immortals first. Immortals, I talked about them last week. I said if I had to pick between Dignitas and Immortals for one of them to play for my life, I would pick Immortals. They played this week, and I was fortunately correct. So I have Immortals being better than Dignitas. CLG lost to Team Liquid and Golden Guardians, which is expected. These three teams at the bottom are pretty close. Shuffling them around based on recent performance is okay, but I mean they're just not very good. 100 Thieves, they lost to FlyQuest and they beat Immortals, so I do still think they belong above Immortals. I picked Immortals on some DraftKings lineups because I know that I thought that they would be very low owned and they had the upside of winning. But I do think that 100 Thieves is the better team overall. Next up, we have Golden Guardians, who beat C9 and they beat CLG. Doesn't do much for me in terms of putting them above the teams higher than them, because they had some pretty good performances this week as well. So FlyQuest beat 100 Thieves. FlyQuest beat Evil Geniuses. The victory over 100 Thieves is expected. The victory over Evil Geniuses was not expected for me. And I think that I'm probably going to have to start downgrading EG, unfortunately. So at this point, I do have to put them down a little bit. They lost to TSM and they lost to FlyQuest. TSM beat EG and beat C9. When we were earlier on in the season, even in the last rankings video, I said a lot of these teams are much closer than it might seem. And that's really the point that we're getting to, is I think there's just a clump of teams at the top that all have a chance. So it's really like the top 6 teams, and then 100 Thieves, and then Immortals, Dignitas, CLG. But when I'm ranking the top teams, I still think that C9 is better than Team Liquid. I'm not going to let a couple of losses change my opinion. I think that the play style that C9 has is just better. It is higher volatility, and if they're able to make these matches against Team Liquid more bloody, I think that they'll just come out on top more often than not. So I think right now I'd probably put the top 3 teams. I'd probably put it like this. So this is what we have for the LCS. I have Cloud9, Team Liquid, and TSM in the A tier. None of them are in the S tier. I don't think any of these teams are particularly good on the global stage. FlyQuest, EG, and Golden Guardians are in the B tier. Golden Guardians is probably not going to make its way above EG or FlyQuest because of talent reasons, but because of the form, they're in the top 6. 100 Thieves in the C tier, and then Immortals, Dignitas, and CLG. Let's go to the LEC. All right. So last week in the LEC, I had Schalke lower than everybody, and then two individual tiers. So let's look at some of the results. So Schalke beat XL, and Schalke beat OG. I think that means they belong in that other clump, not above it or anything like that. Vitality lost to G2, beat Mad Lions, so that's a good win. So they're going to stick in that cluster. XL lost to SO4, beat Misfits, so they belong in that cluster on the bottom. Misfits beat SK, lost to XL, cluster on the bottom. SK lost to Misfits, beat Rogue, cluster on the bottom. I'm not putting them above Rogue just because they beat them once. Origin had 2 losses. They lost to Mad Lions, which is expected, and they lost to Schalke, which was a pretty bad loss. So I think if we're rearranging teams in here, I think all you're doing is dropping Origin a little bit. But again, all these teams are basically one big cluster at this point. Mad Lions went 1-1. They beat OG, lost to Vitality, which was kind of surprising. G2 went 2-0. They looked much better this week, so back in form, hopefully. Rogue beat Fnatic, which is good. Lost to SK, which is bad. And then Fnatic had an 0-2 week. They lost to Rogue, and they lost to G2. So I'm actually pretty confident in these rankings still. Just the two separate tiers. I think Mad Lions, G2, Rogue, and Fnatic in that order. And then SK, Misfits, Origin, XL, Vitality, and Schalke. Let's go to the LCK. Alright, so let's see the results from last week. So we had a Freak of Freaks beating Hanwha Life and losing to DRX. Those are both expected. We had Hanwha Life losing both of their matches, which is expected. Seoulhaewon Prince lost their match. Seoulhaewon Prince versus HLE. I still think Hanwha Life is better than Seoulhaewon Prince, so I'm leaving both of those two teams in the bottom tier. Then we have Sandbox Gaming beat Dynamics, lost to T1, which is pretty much expected. I think that I had Dynamics ahead of Sandbox, so I'll switch that. KT lost to T1, not really going to change anything based off of that. KT with UCal and aiming, I think, is just more talented than like Sandbox or Dynamics. So I'll probably leave it like that. Then we have a Freak of Freaks. I'm not moving them up after those performances. And then we have DRX lost to Damwon Gaming, beat a Freak of Freaks, which is expected. Damwon Gaming went 2-0 this week. T1 went 2-0 this week, and Gen G won their only match. So there's only one change to be made here, and that is putting Damwon Gaming above DRX. So that's where we are for the LCK. Let's go to the LPL. And we had a lot of interesting matches this week, so this might take a little while. But I'm fine with that, since it's the best league. The best league right now. Okay, so let's go one by one. So first up, Dominus. Dominus lost both of their matches. They are still the worst team in the league, in my opinion. LNG lost to EDG. EDG is a team moving in the right direction. I'm high on EDG. I've been high on them for a while. LNG managed to beat Rogue Warriors, which was somewhat surprising, but not extremely not extremely surprising. Like I said, one tier above, one tier below. If there's an upset, I'm not going to be too shocked. E-Star lost to JDG, and they lost to World Elite. Those are expected. Dominus also lost to FPX. I missed that before. OMG lost 1-2 to Sunning, but that was an okay match for them. They lost to Invictus Gaming, which is expected, and then they beat World Elite today. So that's good for OMG. I do like Curse and Hacker and Icon. I don't like their bot lane, and I don't think that Eric and Sora are going to fix that. So I'm still pretty low on them in the long run. And they're eliminated from playoffs now. BLG beat Rogue Warriors. They lost to EDG, and they lost to LGD. So they're probably sticking right where they are, because EDG is in the tier above them. Rogue Warriors lost to BLG and LNG. I love Rogue Warriors, but they're an inconsistent team. They have like interesting players, but they have like one really interesting player. Zwuji's interesting. Holder's not that good. Wooming's not that great. Next up, we have RNG. RNG beat Dominus. RNG beat Top Esports. And they are going to move up a tier. When you beat Top Esports, you kind of have to move up a tier. Vici Gaming beat Dominus, lost to LGD. So I could probably justify moving them down below EDG. Not qualified for playoffs. So I think these are all the teams that are still live, right? All right, yeah. So Vici should probably go below RNG. I think next year I'll probably like VG Gaming more than RNG anyways. VG Gaming, like I said, beat Dominus, lost to LGD. Let's go to EDG. EDG's been playing really well recently. They beat LNG, which was an easy one. They beat BLG, which some people were on BLG for some reason. And then EDG 2-0 V5 tonight. I had EDG over V5. I don't like when teams start messing around with their roster. V5 has been messing around with their roster, and I picked against them for that reason primarily. World Elite lost to V5, beat E-Star, and then they lost to OMG. So I have them as the lowest team in Tier A. EDG probably belongs in Tier A as well. If EDG played World Elite and World Elite drafted like they did today, I would pick EDG. Scout is better than Teacher Ma. Hope and Zhao Munger pretty close. Missing had a really bad performance today. Beishang against Jai Jai is pretty close, probably Beishang favored. And then Morgan against Xiaoshang it's unclear at this point. So those two teams are pretty close. Next up we have LGD. LGD beat BLG, lost to FPX, beat VG Gaming. So they're taking care of business. They're doing what they're supposed to do. That's not going to make me move them. Sunning beat OMG, which is okay. Lost to Top Esports, which is fine. We're not going to penalize them for that. V5 beat World Elite, beat JDG, lost to EDG. I am a little concerned about V5 at this point. I would probably downgrade them underneath Sunning. V5 against LGD. Longshi against Bew is close. Weiwei against Peanut. I prefer Peanut. Xie against Mole is pretty close. Probably prefer Xie. And then Kramer and Mark against the Big Dick bot lane. So the Big Dick bot lane from the beginning of the year, probably prefer them. That's a good matchup. I'm not sure either way on that. FPX. FPX beat LGD 2-1, which is a good win, and they beat DMO. Oh, don't want to do that. 1 second. I need to send an email. One second. All right. So we're on FPX. Yeah, they're taking care of business. I don't know if I can really justify putting them into the top 3 teams. So let's keep looking. JDG beat E-Star. They're supposed to. They lost to V5. Not too shocking. Their styles line up pretty advantageous or they're pretty similar. IG against OMG. IG won their only match. I'm not upgrading them for beating OMG. And then Top Esports beat Sunning, lost to RNG. I'm not downgrading them for that. RNG is a talented team. Like, you just can't start throwing teams all over the place because they're losing to talented teams. It'd be another thing if they lost to like LNG again or Dominus, something like that. So FPX, does FPX deserve to be top tier? I don't know. We're gonna learn a lot in the next week. So once we get to playoffs, we'll have a much clearer picture. I thought we were done with these 2-game series. I thought they were supposed to be all 3-game series after this point. That stinks. Okay. Well, that's basically it for this one. So nothing has really changed. So let me see the global one real quick. Oh, this was the global one from Billy. All right, so I'm gonna do the global power rankings with the ESPN power rankings. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. Check me out on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, etc. If you want access to my picks and the Discord, make sure to check out Patreon. $10 a month. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.